testing out. Like as far as the comparison to the masters, as far as how much it opens and closes. Oh, this is. You know, they're right there. They're the same. They're right there. Well, shit's lighter too. Way lighter. Alright. Cool. Alright. So we're gonna start off with our first format, which we said is gonna be a mid master. Alright. Boom. I'm gonna be blocking my camera, which I don't want to do. Alright. So everybody see from behind me. Alright, cool. So we're gonna start mid. Actually, I'm gonna start open because I want to make sure the hair texture is the same. With that mid master, we're gonna start first. Alright? You wanna go closer to that? It sounds like it's already dying, right?
Yeah.
That's like one of the bad things about these clippers. It doesn't sound as strong, but these are fully charged.
Okay. You could do a nice blend with them.
Just off top. Alright, so now is that a mid master or open master?
Or mid.
That's open.
Open if you
I was gonna go mid, but depending on the texture, what it look like. Alright, so now I know I can straight up go open master, and it's pretty close. I'm cool with that. You wanna go closer than that? That's cool. Alright, so now I'm gonna continue that open master all the way around. Alright, some people like to just make that first line and leave the bulk at the bottom, but just get it out the way. Think about how much time you're going to be spending while going back. Going all the way around? Yeah, that's the best, best angle, right? And alright, now I have choices. What's my next option? Take the bolt down with a with a 2, or I can do what? What you say, Jay? Give myself my guideline. Reason being, right? I know I want to knock down the bolt, but me knocking down the bolts sometimes makes me lose my positioning. So what I want to do next is still add that second guideline, then I can still knock down the bolt, which is going to make it 10 times easier. Alright, so now we're going to go to our 0 guard. Alright, so one thing I don't like is these guards. Alright, these guards are cool, right? But they often catch hair in this little area here, which causes more issues because now you got to use more passes. Alright, so we want to see if they actually work on
Those guards.
since they're close to the masters, right? And as far as relation as how the width is, right? Let's see if it actually works. And we can use. Nope.
The wall guards.
Alright, so the wall guard is still fit. Even though you have a fully extension open that you have that's close to the master, your blade size is still smaller, so you can't use these joints. Alright, so Kenny gonna pull up with the jump off. Oh, you got the flare pack. Just give me 0.
You just dump it all
Alright, let's see if this joint works. Perfect. Alright? So even though you have a full extension, it's still as small as your wall guard, which is actually, in my opinion, the better guard to use. Alright? So now I'm going to use that closed 1/16. Do my second format. Alright. my next step, right, is what? Break the bolt. Alright. Another thing, the reason why I always like to leave 2 levers like this is because I know anything that's above this, I'm not going to have small guards. It sets up a good borderline for as far as where my favorite placement of my guards is going to go, so then I won't get lost. Because what's going to happen is once I start to break down that little bit of bolt, you're going to lose where that 1 at the bottom really is in comparison. Alright? So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to knock down that weight. Alright, so we know that this at the top is not a, we can tell this is not a 2. Alright, so I'm going to actually start with the 1 1/2, which is a great guard the wall system does have. Alright, so we're going to start that, and we're going to start open. Now when I mean removing the bolt, I'm just going to come straight down, forward. And remove that weight. Fully extended open. Now I'm going to go mid.
Now when you go mid, are you in the whole area that's open, or are you going down a little?
With my static guards, yes.
Okay.
Why would we say it again?
Why are we not going against?
Because I want to still leave that weight.
Yeah, you got it.
Sometimes when you go straight up, I'm just going to blend it all into just nothingness. So when he takes his hair out, it's not going to look like he has like a transition. Like if I just go straight up, it's going to take away from where my placement is as far as where my blender zone is for this particular cut. Now, if I'm doing something like he's chopping the top down and it was a 2 on the top, yeah, I'm just going to go straight up because I'm not thinking about how the transition is going to look when this actual line that's created from the ponytail is actually in there.
So is that a technique that would be limited to like this type of hairstyle?
This type of hairstyle that can keep you from just pushing it all the way up.
So with the bun, somebody come in with a bun, you do
The same technique, because if I just, like when he takes, all right, at the end of it, when I take his hair out, you don't mind, I'll take your hair out, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna look horrible.
All right, but it's not gonna look like just this little pineapple at the side forward. All right, it's gonna be like hair, so it'll be like a transition into the actual top. Forward.
And it's even better than that.
Exactly. All right. So now with the mid, right? I am going in that same zone that I just did with the open because it's a bigger guard. Now I'm closed. Big guard. Not really taking off a lot. This is like me equivalent to using like a 2 guard. If I use that open 2, it's really them first couple of passes ain't gonna do anything. But down when I get to like the smaller guard with that 1, right? So now the full extension 1, I'm gonna be up here, but I'm not gonna dig in the top right here. I'm gonna be a little bit below that line. So now this is when you're gonna start to see a little bit more of that bulk actually start to come off.
Now, when you put to the next guard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you? I don't know.
Notch it. All right. So now at mid, right? I'm gonna be a little bit lower, but not crazy lower. But that's when you're gonna start to hear more of that hair actually start to come off.
So when you pushing the guard coming with the grain, like that is what guard you gonna use on against the grain? You still gonna use the same?
Yeah. So now I'm gonna really eliminate that open 1 1/2 because I already broke everything down. So everything at the top, I can go straight up, and then as I come back down to the guard, it's gonna keep my that 0 guard exactly where I want it as far as with the transition. All right. Now we're gonna hit close.
So after you go with the grain, like with all your guys, what would be the next guard that you?
A closed 1 1/2. Alright. Bam. So I took off all the weight that I wanted to with that guard. Now I'm gonna go back to my 0 guard. Now with my 0 guard, right? I'm not gonna be up here, I'm gonna be closer to the bottom. So now I'm gonna hit this point. Open. Mid. And then close. Alright. Now I know that when I put my what guard on? close 1 1/2. Because you already broke down all that weight that was here. You see how it looks completely different on the opposite side?
Yeah.
Alright, so I don't have that heavy weight. So now I can take this 1 1/2 and I can even start mid and I can go straight up.
Into all the bolts? Yeah.
So now after that first open, right? And I'm gonna go close. Breaking it down.
Yeah, ain't no more this way.
Hmm?
Stand more this way. We get behind you.
So I can kill all of this. Alright? Bam. Now I'm gonna go down my 1. Alright, now my 1, I'm gonna be fully open and I'm gonna stand into my next zone. Alright, now if you pay attention, you can still see a heaviness at the top. Alright? It's not a big thing. That's just me not being like, when I'm taking down the bolt, maybe I didn't go high enough with the 1. Alright, but I'm cool with that. I'm not worried about that. Keep on breaking down. Alright, now I'm at my 1 guard, and my transitional pocket as far as to where I'm at is still there. So now I got that little bit of weight at the top. I'm gonna go back open again. And just remove a little bit more of that weight. There. And then close. Hold it back down. Heat check with my mirror. Alright. I'm looking good as far as like not just thinking about where my lines are, but as far as like when he takes this hair out, where it's gonna sit. He's still gonna have a fade instead of just a mushroom on the top. Alright? So now I'm gonna go down to my 0. Same process. Now on my open 0, I'm gonna be able to go straight up. I'll get you started back, Jay. Alright. 1. So I went from the 1 1/2, the 1 guard, now I'm at my 0 guard. And at my 0 open, I can extend. I have the room to extend. Then I'm gonna hit the mid. Alright? So now the closer I get to my bottom line, right? Which is a what?
Close 116.
1 more notch. Reason I'm going notch, because I want to keep that transition as good as possible. Now the closer I get down to that last 0, right? I mean the 0 guard close, I can start to kill my bottom line. Because I know for a fact, right? When I'm close to my close 1, my close 0, I'm not really going to be up in this section at all. It's not really that top section that's bothering me. It's the bottom section. Closer. Alright?
So with the 0, you're going notch by notch, you said?
Notch by notch on the last 2. Because I know once I get closed, anything underneath that, no matter how many times I pass, even though it looks like it's blended, I still have that 1 at the bottom. Alright? So now I'm going to open that up. Comb the hair back down. Take that open. Now with the open, I want to make sure I still stay kind of low, but still going up enough. Now if I had them dark spots, I want to use the corners, kind of chip out. Alright? Now what also am I fighting with? What did he have on both sides of his head? Of course. The lines. Alright? So now I can see definitively where that part actually was. Alright? So I'm not fighting that line. I'm not fighting that at all. There's nothing I can do about that unless I go closer to what? That extent. Alright? So what I'll do is I'll try to match everything around it to get as close to that transition as I can. Now you see me extending up into another zone. That's just me in there chipping, trying to take out some little dark spots. Alright? Slowly breaking it down. Alright, bam. So now I can see exactly how I wanted it. All right, I'm gonna take a brush right quick, brush everything down so I can see it. All right, I left his sideburn a little dark so I can actually have room to cut it. But as far as like the overall fade transition, it's looking pretty good. All right, so now I'm gonna do the opposite side. So now since I know exactly how I'm gonna do it, all right, you walk me through it. It's my first guard.
1.5. 1 and 1/2.
1 1/2 to open, all right? And I'm gonna take that bulk down. All right, so I'm gonna start that open. Just break down that weight. Big. Close. All right. So now one thing I noticed that last time on that other side, what happened when I started after I went to my open one? I noticed that on the other side I could have did what with the open one?
Started higher.
Started higher. All right. So that's one time, part of your time that you're gonna cut short. You're not gonna have to go up to that 1 1/2 and go higher again, because now you know that you can go high enough with your one and still keep the transition in your pocket. Slowly bringing it down. All right. Everything with the breeze. Then we're gonna go mid. All right, so far so good. I like these clippers. Reason being is, close to the master, I also get to use my wall guards, which I like because I have that 1 1/2. Because just imagine if you was blending, right? You didn't have that 1 1/2. And how much of a transition difference it would look if you didn't have it. You went from that 2 to the 1. That's that guard in between. So that's why I kind of like the wall system guards a little bit more. All right. Now I'm gonna go right down to my 0. Start open. Same process. Just like when I'm blending against the grain. All right. This is sort of like a blend. I'm just removing the bulk, but I'm also blending it down. So I know that I don't want to go up too high with my closed 0. All right. Boom. So when I look in the mirror, I'm damn near done with the transition. Just off of the strength of how I just broke the weight down off of the fade. Now when I go back to this 1 1/2, right? I can go straight open and I can extend. Knowing that, one, I'm not gonna leave it too light at the top because this is a bigger guard. I already took off most of the bulk, so now I'm just needing to fine tune at the bottom really. Every time a couple of passes, comb it back down, close. Now we're gonna be able to find out if I left the weight at the top like I did on the other side and didn't extend enough with the one with the grain. So now with the one open, I'm gonna make sure I extend exactly where that 1 1/2 close left off. Slowly breaking it down. Mid. Keep checking the mirror. Looking pretty good. One more notch. Now we close. Calm everything down. Now I'm close to my 0 guard, right? So now with my 0 guard, I already know my position. I'm not going up high, crazy high, but I want to go high enough to go to where my closed 1 left off. All right, so my open, I'm going straight up. I'm not up here, I'm not in confidence. I'm cool. And down below. Down below. Yeah, we might have to edit that part out. Yeah. Nah, I might just keep it. All right. Keep on combing down. All right. Now we're gonna hit that 1 notch before close. The reason why I'm going one notch before close because I know close is my second format. So if I can get it as fine as possible, close down or broken down to that 1, I'm good. Now we're gonna hit the close. Touch the passes. Keep checking the mirror, take the guard off. And at this point, kind of brush a little bit. So you can kind of see what you're doing. Alright, I'm cool with that. And the only part of my line I really got that's crazy is really at the bottom. So now I'm gonna go open. Alright, and it's another thing I noticed. His hair actually goes in different directions on the bottom. So you might have to turn your hand over. Now, if your client wanted it lighter, right? And you went through your whole entire haircut. You did one side and you did this side. And he looks in the mirror and he says, yo, can you take it down lighter? Whose fault is that?
It's essentially the barber's fault because it's supposed to be checking with him each pass.
Fact. Alright? The goal is not to do 2 haircuts. You a barber, take you like a half an hour, 45 to complete a haircut. And then from there, anything more than that, you either talking or you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Alright? Broke it down as close as possible. Alright? Now, once I get to the back part of their client's head with the transition, I should be able to see my evenness as far as where my fade is placed. Alright? My transition for darkness is both in the same plot or as far as like my fade, and then when I'm back, I just got this little pocket, right? So it took me less time to do this side than it did this side because I already figured out my decision what I gotta do. So now at the back, right? Little cheat code. That 1 1/2 guard, for some reason, if you're using a 2 or 3 or whatever, if you use a 3 for the top, when you get back to the back of the actual client's head, closer to the crown, the hair is actually a little bit shorter for some reason. So that 1 1/2 guard, you really don't have to use in the back little section of the head because it already eliminates itself because the hair is a little bit shorter, all right? So now I can start with my open 1. And all thing I'm gonna do is just break down that same transition, bring it down. Because my open 1 is almost equivalent to my what? What close?
1
1 1/2. Because it goes 2, 1 1/2, and 1. So if my 1 open is equivalent to my 1 1/2 close. Alright? Going down the stairs. So now I hit it with the mid. Hit it with the close. Boom. And just from that, you can already see like, yo, I'm pretty much done. This party done in the back. Alright? So now we're gonna go to our open 1, open 0 I mean. Do the same thing. Open, mid, and then close. Part of my ergonomics. I'm trying to get it all on camera. You heard it? There. So now do I need my 1 1/2? Go right back to my 1. And I'm gonna extend. One open. One mid. And I'm starting to eliminate some of that first format because I know I'm coming down the scale and I already have my position already set up. So now I'm gonna close, mid. If there's any weight back up there, go back open, shifting the corners.
Shadow line. Shadow line.
Now we on our 0. Slowly breaking it down. You check with your mirror. So now we on the 0. Our fade is pretty much done as far as what we trying to accomplish. Then we just know we gotta pass our 1. Breaking it down. Any questions on this particular fade so far?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Fade the video.
No.
To bring it down a little bit, yeah. To smooth it down, of course. That's a good question. Nah. I would probably start with like a heavier guard because sometimes if you go low off top, you don't really know what's underneath there yet. You know what I'm saying? So you might go low and you're like, oh my goodness, I ain't mean to go that low.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And what about the side? Like right here?
You're gonna get the middle as close as you can to the sides. Meaning like this part right here in this section, you're gonna try to get this as close to be with the sides so that you can kind of make the transition. I know it looks like an open, but say if I go open and it makes it lighter than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you would hit literally like just the tip, right? I mean, of course.
Yeah. Just the front of it,
the
yeah.
front of the hairline.
Just the start of the hairline. Alright. Damn. Alright, I'm cool with that. Now at the end of the fade, I'm probably gonna end up fading this out anyway because it looks like it looks better blended out, and plus you probably get irritation at the bottom of the nail. Alright? So now we're gonna transition on to the front. Alright? So we're gonna comb everything out. Low key, these get kind of hot. Not blade. No, blade get hot too.
Blade and bottom?
Blade and body get hot.
Oh, that ain't that bad.
Touch the blade. Not crazy thing about it. Do a little shoot with it. A little shoot with it.
You see my dad?
Yeah, man. At least you got it on the top though.
That's the problem. He's not balding. He's just balding in the
corners.
Yeah, because his goes all the way back here. Like,
Shit, videos saying, bro, that shit was so nice.
I didn't realize till my mom
So
started.
much. Yeah.
I was like, why am I here? Because I thought it was from her braiding my hair all the time. And
You
it's
like
blowing.
that?
She's like, no, that's
That's from your father.
yeah, because she's been cutting my hair. She hasn't been. She's been cutting it down.
Alright. So, all we're gonna do is just bring the front down. Alright. We know we ain't gonna use a fat guard, so we're gonna start with our open 1. Alright. And we're not gonna hit the sides as much. Alright. I'm gonna hit like close to it, but I'm not really gonna hit the sides because I don't want to take away from the little hairs that I do have. Alright. Then go open. Couple of passes. Alright, I'm close to it, but I feel like I get it a little bit more. Alright, so now I'm gonna go 1 notch, not directly mid. Because I still don't know. Some clients have like swirls and stuff like underneath. So if you hit it, you'd be like, oh, I can't. Ain't nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Alright? So I wanna go still. And even when I'm going with the grain, I'm still not going like digging into the hair. I'm using very light pressure. Hey, sir, you take care of you right quick, man. You gotta cash out. Or you gotta wait for your mom to come back. Oh, that's your aunt. Alright. So now I went to the mid. You wanna go lower than that? A little bit. Alright, so I'm gonna go close. And I'm pretty much cool with the close. Alright. Reason being is, gonna use a little sauce. Boom. Alright, our next step is what?
Putting your lines.
On the lines. Alright. Now, two things. One, the reason why you set up your line, I'll show you guys, is because I can tell naturally, just from how his A, B, and C's on this side, that his B point is off. Alright? So now imagine if I do one whole side and this B point is mad small and I make it accustomed to that actually side of the hairline. That means I gotta yank this side to actually make it look somewhat proportionate, and as it grows back, he's gonna be kinda tight. Alright? That's what happens. So we're just gonna go to hell anyway and follow the same line, right? No. Alright? You're gonna have your client sit in the chair. You're gonna have a consultation with him. You want it to make it look real sharp or give it more of a natural look? Sharp. Cool. Now sharp doesn't mean I'm going to hell. Sharp just means I want to give the natural line as much definition as I can without going into it. Alright? So then my next step, question is, how do you want your sideburns? Points. Alright, so small points. Now I gotta make sure that both sides kind of grow similar, which they do. But I also noticed that one side here is also a little bit lighter on this side than this side. That's simple to fix. That's just me, my blending. Alright, that's why your best friend is this guy right here. Alright, now instead of going back to your clippers, you can use a quick trick and use your clipper over comb to just blend off that little bit of hair in that small section. Alright? Now, next thing you're gonna do, you're gonna start from your ABCs. Turn your client's head. And start from your A point. I'm gonna kill a little bit of this overlap here. A little quick trimmer over comb. Start from my A. I don't know how I feel about these clients. I'm not in love with them. Alright. Then I'm gonna hit my B point. Low as possible. Then I'm gonna start from the bottom of my C point and keep on curving. Not bad. Alright. So I got my A, B, and C's on one side. First pass, cool. Now I'm gonna do the same exact thing one more time. But now with each pass, it's gonna get a little bit sharper. Now am I applying more pressure? No. I'm just killing what hair might have had overlap my line so that it shows more. Cool. Alright. Now is it super defined? No. Two things. One, the client's hair is already low on the side. So it's not gonna always give you that ash line that you're always looking for. If I keep on passing, it's gonna do what? Irritate and tattoo them, right? So my next level to get it sharper is what?
Laser.
Alright, cool. Don't pull with this sideburn. Clean it up a little bit. I'm not mad at these trimmers. I feel like they could be a little more sharper, but they give me a decent line. Alright? Now I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Alright? Now I would actually be standing technically right here. Alright? And what I wanna do is use my mirror to gauge. Alright? So I'm gonna use my mirror and my comb from here to kind of gauge where my point is gonna be at on this side. Alright? So I want to, in comparison, start even lower than I did on the opposite side. Alright? And now I'm going to do a little bit of shear over trimmer, quick over trimmer on this. Just to take some of these little hairs down and out my way. Alright, so right here, right? Do you think you're at a good position? Alright? I'm going to go like this. Bam. 1, Now I can move a little bit closer, and now I have better position in where I'm placing my trimmer. So I'm gonna start from my A point. Bam. Comb it all down. Start from the lowest point from my B point. Bam. Then I'm gonna start back with my A point. And going back and forth to create that C. I don't want to go one whole way, because sometimes when you go one whole way one side, you overcompensate with your curve. Bam. Keep checking the mirror. Alright, I'm cool with that. Now, if I want anything that's going to be any sharper, it's going to be the razor. Because I don't want to irritate the client's skin. You know what the worst thing that happens is when the client gets their skin irritated? They go home and they later be like, ooh, you cut your face up like that. And you be like, damn, I ain't going back good. Now you just lost the client off the quick new comment. Alright? So now I have my ABCs, both sides. I'm pretty close with the points. Alright, I know I left this one a little bit lower. So now I can go in and kind of compensate for it now. Let's pinch it up just a little bit. Bam. Now I'm gonna go back to the front. Comb everything back down. And look. Alright. Now, my points are pretty decent, but then now I also notice that there's more little point on this side than this side. So now, do you want to make your points a little bit bigger to overcompensate, or you just like to make it just look good, period? Cool. So once again, you're not gonna do what? You ain't gonna go to hell, but you're gonna create the line. Alright? So you're gonna turn them towards you. Alright? Now sometimes you get stuck with like a little bit of overlap. So now with that overlap, you can actually use the trimmer to kind of blend that down just a little bit. Once again, very light pressure. Start right from the middle. Bam, 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 bam. Boom. And hit it again. 1, 2, 3. Comb it again. Keep check with your mirror. Getting closer where that corner of that eyebrow is. Push all that hairline forward, and you're gonna step on it. Couple of passes. Hold it again. So you bring the definition out to the line. So the more you pass it, the sharper it's going to get. Alright? Now do I have a definitive corner?
No, not really. Just there.
But it's because it's here, right? Now, I can go like this and kill some more of that overlap. Now I can start to see it. Alright? Now, the only thing that was hiding it was what? The overlap. Alright? Now, it's not going to be completely crazy sharp because he has imperfection. Now, this is when your enhancement will come into play. Yeah. Alright? Now, I want to turn him so he's looking directly at me. I'm going to do the same thing. Tap, 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 tap. Boom. Tap, 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 tap. Boom. Now I'm gonna spin the chin towards me a little bit. Keep check with my guy.
Block. Block.
Hmm?
Block.
Oh, you're fine. And I'm gonna twist it. Alright. Keep that same on.
Let's go. Here, Taylor, I'm sitting here. We gotta go. You gotta move on. You guys steps. You gotta go.
It's different, bro. No, it's really different. Yeah, I'm glad you did. Bro, like, I rode all the way up. Like, bro,
What happened?
yeah, bro. Kenny and Todd. I'm not the city. Chicago. Yeah, good.
Alright.
I'm taking 45 minutes in the car.
Tap, tap.
And then 30 minutes walk for 55 minutes. Now I'm trying to go ahead and out. Waiting all night.
Heat check. Alright. So now this is my box right here, right? Alright. So for my box from here, right? If I look at it, right, I can tell my hand is dropping, right? Because if I look at the front of his line here, and from here to here, you can actually see where I started to drop. Alright? So what I want to do is before I even make the box again, I'm going to hit that line one more time. Bring the chair closer to me so I can keep that line straight out.
Yo, Ken. Yo,
Yeah.
Kenny. You ain't the only one, bro.
Mhm.
You dead up on top of him. We're over here like watching you.
Oh, yeah, my fault.
Kenny got the whole phone.
I thought you saw the live. So.
Alright. Cool. Cool with this side. Comb it out a little more. Great spot. Alright. Now I know this side is still what? Now when I look at the client's hairline, right? Is it here or is it here?
It's down here. It's
Down here.
Yeah.
Alright? Which is better?
It's
Down here. Because we
Yeah.
initially knew that this point was the smaller point. So I'm cool with having to come up just a little bit on this side, then have to chew up more of his actual front line. Alright? And now I'm gonna do comparison. My man will start looking at his phone. Alright, some of your clients will care about their phone more than their health. Alright? Alright, don't go too crazy. Alright, now you want to start at your nape. Just give them the two lines, pause. Just on the sides. Around the client's ears. Cool. Same thing on this side. Alright, I'm gonna follow straight from the back. Pause right here. Just making sure I use my corner. Now, can I get a line at the back of his name? Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want a square or round? Or would you rather fade it out? Cool. My suggestion too. One, because even though I can get a line, I'm not gonna be able to get like a real sharp line on it. So it'll look cleaner if it just blended all the way out. Alright, so since he's fading it out, I'm just gonna use this trimmer. And bring it right up to where my definitive line was on my sides. Now, considering that the back is a what? This is all on the sides is a what?
Close 116. No, it was
Open.
open master, yeah.
Right? I can go straight to mid and start my blending. Why?
Because you know everything above it is open.
Everything above it is already a 1. So now I'll go one more notch. Close. See my hand turn, that's the way that the hair goes in different directions. There. Now I'm just left with that trimmer line. Take that right out the bottom. There. There. Cool? Alright. So now, where is the top of it? On the top. On deck. You got some? Oh, I got it right now. Alright. So now, we had other enhancers, we use other enhancers, but the hair fiber works very good too. Alright. So now what I want to do is I want to spray for coverage. Like I always show you guys on the mannequin, spray for coverage. This is the reason why. Alright? Coverage is going to do 2 things. It's going to give me landscape. It's not going to give me a lot of in one concentrated section. Alright? So what I want to do is just lighten. Even though I don't think that's dust in the tinning, it is. It's slowly making that section dark. The key for enhancements is what? To make it look like what?
Regular hair.
Like it's regular hair, like it's more natural than anything. So now I'm just gonna hit exactly where I put the topic. I just filled it in a little bit. That's all I want. I don't want it to look like caked on.
Almost off.
This is woo.
Almost off.
Almost lost. So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. Spray for coverage. Just a little bit. Just fill in the background. Bam. All I'm gonna do is just hit that same line. Just to bring out the line a little bit more from what I did. Now imagine if I were to use the enhancements off top. So now when he goes home, say he puts on a do-rag, lets it rock, he's Gucci, right?
Yeah.
Until he took that do-rag off.
Now you take the do-rag off, it's still gonna be there, but he also could do what?
Brush it out.
Brush it out, wash it out, but still have what? The line originally there. So you get to walk out with it super sharp, and then when you take it out, and you say you go wash your hair, you'll still be left with a line, opposed to like some people, they put the enhancement on first with no line, and when they go wash it, it's nothing there. Then he be like, yo, the haircut ain't that good. Alright, you take out the little pony shots now? Then enhancements. Dry is cool. Pause. Alright, so cool. So now, when I go like this, and he takes that line out of there, right? It still looks like he has a transition, opposed to just this at the top.
Yeah.
So opposed to like somebody saying, all right, cool, I'm just gonna blend it down. What if he doesn't want to rock like that? Now I can comb this little line out, and it still looks like a fade. It doesn't just look like that pineapple at the top. All right, cool. Questions, comments, concerns? Alright, yo, these clippers ain't too bad. The liners ain't too bad. They can try to get adjusted. These joints do get hot though, the blade. And then the guards are kind of wacky, but they cool. I like them. As far as like the full extension is close to the master, good bread.
Now you about to handle the blade work?
Yes. Alright, you ready? Alright, then you just kick the client out the chair. Alright, now okay, come on. My edit game gonna be right. So now, since I'm only doing the outline, I don't gotta lean them completely back. Hold on. Oh, your barrier in there. Can I use somebody straight razor?
Yeah, man.
Alright, cool. You good.
Yeah, 2 of them you can choose from.
For the gram? Oh, your razor don't make it.
Okay, for the bed.
Alright, so see how your client edge is right now? If I was gonna use a straight razor, it would be kind of hard.
Yeah.
So now I can just all the way back down. Alright. So I'm gonna turn this head away from me. Alright. And depending on how you feel, I like to start from like the middle and slowly bring it to the line. I'm not looking forward to going into the line, but more as far as just cleaning up everything that's before the line.
Like right underneath?
Right underneath the line.
So basically, don't make the line with the blade.
Don't remake the line with the blade. You just clean everything in front of it. Bring it down. Alright, turn your client to a little more. Take good steps. Alright, some people like to clean the whole client's face with the razor, but you just want to make sure that you ask the client before you do so, because some people get irritation. Alright, so now that's my first pass. Cool. I want to wipe it. Alright, then I'm going to hit it one more time. So I know that first pass, right? First pass, you're going to get that super ash line, which is great. Once I wipe it, I'll be able to see exactly what I did. Alright, I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I always want to lead with the top of the blade, with the tip of the blade. Now I'm going to start from the bottom. Even when start to get to the curve, I'm gonna take a couple more steps so I can position better. Cool, I'm gonna wait. One more time. And then always, whenever you use enhancements, you make sure you tell your clients how to take care of it. Alright? Number one, don't be wilding out, wiping your forehead all crazy if I use the hair fiber. Number two, if I use some form of like semi-permanent, you can wash your hair, but don't go crazy washing it. Like, don't go in the shower and scrub your hair because you're just gonna scrub it right out. Alright? Then small stuff, like how you wanna preserve the cut. Teach them how to take care of the cut afterwards, because one thing is that you don't want to deal with is somebody who really doesn't know how to take care of their hair afterwards, because when they come back, you're not going to be working together to get the desired cut. Alright? So now he can go somewhere else and he's like, yo, let me get a fade, and they might just push it straight up. But you want the transition in the fade, you want to make sure everything looks good, clean, and correct. Alright? So now we just got left is just to trim up the beard, the mustache a little bit. We just shaving it all up. Shaving everything off?
No.
See how you, sometimes you gotta set them up like that, you know what I mean? Feel good about yourself right now? It's a good thing. That's what we're here to do, alright? Make somebody feel good. You never know what somebody dealing with.
I have not cut it in like 3 months.
No cut in 3 months. I bet you ain't going straight home when you leave here.
Damn sure not.
See? Alright. So first thing I want to do, even though it's already pretty much low and it looks good dark, I just want to go with the grain just to take off a little bit of hairs. I'm not going to notch it or anything, fully open. And that's just to give it a little bit more conformity.
That makes your hair lay down too.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so now you have options to trim the bottom. You can freehand it, you can use the quick over comb technique. Alright, most of the time if it's just a little bit, I kinda like to freehand mold it, because sometimes with the quick over comb you might go in too deep for it and cut too much off. Yeah, leaving a patch or making it too flat. He might not want it flat, he might just want the stragglers taken off. Alright? So he's already okay. Let's start right in the middle. Straight down. Own it. Follow that same curve. Round it out. Clean up everything underneath. Alright, now for the mustache. Don't start from the top, because then you might make it too skinny. You're gonna hit the white wall first. Then you pinch the corners. Hit it one more time. Alright. Gonna do the same thing on your opposite side. And even when you trim it like that, you can still grab and trim some more of the hair to see like it's still like a little more needed. You want to make it a little needed. Clean up. Hit the white wall again. So the biggest thing about fading, blending, cutting, anything you do in barber wise is just going to be a repetition. The reason why I like to fade side to side is it builds up repetition a lot faster and you don't get lost in the fade. But you might feel more comfortable going around. It's your system. Alright? I'm just going to give you a little bit of the blueprint and you MacGyver your own situation. Alright? Everybody take your 15. Peace out. Jay, you can stop the camera. Thanks, man. Appreciate your patience, man.